because 95% of GTM engineers don't know anything about N10. And beginning times, your stipend and salary is going to be somewhere about $500 to $1,000 a month. Understand API, understand webhook, understand enrichment, conditional logics, pause video, and that's how you achieve it, man. Hey everyone, Nishka Chakbal here, and basically you have all heard about go-to-market engineering and how this is such an attractive roadmap and career towards hundreds of thousands of dollars annually that are being paid every single day in companies and places like San Francisco, New York, etc., etc. And you might have wondered surely on what is the ideal roadmap towards getting to it. How do I become the best at it entirely, as well as the facts that, like, how can I have enough power to be able to grow any particular company's revenue to scale and ensure the fact that they are able to optimize their revenue to the fullest and get them as much sales as humanly possible, as many leads as humanly possible, and things like that, right? And ensure the fact that their leads database is all centralized towards a single system, and there's an orchestration and synchronization between each and every single tool tech stack in the go-to-market engineering in that exists for the GTM tools. This video is going to cover all of them, as well as a practical roadmap guide on how can you go from zero to essentially 120, 180, 200K. Although I'd say I'm not exactly there yet, but I'm at a very, very comfortable place after hustling and struggling for almost more than 2 years in just go-to-market engineering, with over 3.5 years of entire experience in social media growth. Before that, I was specifically into penetration testing and programming and things like that. And right now, I would say is the ideal opportunity, because this is just at a starting peak with about 3 to 5 years of industry formation. And unlike video editing or graphic design, this, which is at its declining peak and in the next 3 to 5 years is going to vanish. This is going to be like, people are going to be being paid about 400-500K just for a single person, because they have enough power to be able to leverage and handle the same work of 50 to 100 employees in itself. So let's just go towards an actionable step-by-step blueprint that will show you exactly how to progress through each stage of becoming a go-to-market engineer, making sure you have the lessons, the actions, the plan, and everything, each and every single thing specifically discussed in this particular video. Phase 1 is actually going to include foundation building, because essentially learning the most important and crucial skills is going to ensure the fact that you're able to build out on real life experience and start to get to work with some sort of a go-to-market engineering agency right away. But if you don't choose the wrong skills, you would not be there yet with the next 6 months, not even might be for an entire year and things like that. So knowing what is it that we need to learn is the most important part of it. I would say these are of the few of the things that you need to progress towards. Essentially, they include, number one, Clay, which is who was the company who started the term go-to-market engineering and is essentially the foundational orchestration platform right now in the market for the same. Second is going to be a go-to-market strategy. Third is going to be email infrastructure, list building, brief and basics of copywriting, as well as LinkedIn outbound. These are the most few of the essential items that, if you are aware of with the most popular tech stack and a mastery done specifically in Clay, you would be able to ensure the fact that you have a very, very solid understanding of the go-to-market engineering space, and you can get started work right away and start adding some value inside a actual go-to-market engineering company where clients are being managed and handled and are being provided results for ensuring the fact that they're able to deliver hundreds of meetings every single month for the same, right? Week 1 and 2 is essentially to be able to set up the learning environment. So you need to start creating the accounts. So here's a few of the resources that you need to know. Number 1 is the course by Eric Nowlowski on cold email. You can find his playlist on YouTube. It's essentially like a 40-50 hour long video, and dog goes in the basics of automation, copywriting, go-to-market strategy, not infrastructure building, but the entire list building space and things like that, and is going to be starting from the very start to the very end, goes into depth in each and every single aspect of the same. You can pick up and sign up on tools like Play, Zapier, HubSpot CRM, for example, for understanding of a core CRM. Don't try to complicate or build anything, because you need to be able to take time and ensure the fact that you're able to soar through things and not just start from anything. Ensure the fact that you're able to join the Clay Slack community as well as a few others. Clay Cafe is very, very, very powerful for ensuring you're able to build up initial networks and get started on them, right? And there is a community by Eric Novolaski as well, which I'm not aware of. I think it's called something related to sales technicians, something like that, right? That's also very, very powerful community. Join in and ensure the fact that you're able to work on your first automation projects, solve real life problem. And the main thing that I will ensure you are able to do is to go to Clay University and learn the most important aspects from there, as well as the facts that if you are able to then get the subscription and ensure the fact that, which is the most important skill I would say for any particular role, but specifically for a role of a go-to-market engineer, is to know how to prompt perfectly. I will be sharing you some of the resources which if you implement, you will be able to become a 10x, 20x, 30x prompter, right? And get so valuable and good outputs in total, which is what you really need to know, right? And once you know how to prompt perfectly is when you can start to get your automation victories and essentially ask it to be able to give you a client on, well, you can start with SaaS because it's a bit tricky, or you can pick up something comparatively effective and easier like manufacturing, but just go start with or e-commerce, right, is also comparatively easy. HR is also comparatively easier, things like that. Once you have the entire understanding towards it, what you can do is you can just go to Claude or ChatGPT, ask it to give you a particular company with, let's say, employees count between 20 to 200 with product market fit or service market fit in the market, and it could be a SaaS software or it could be a professional recruiting company. And once that is done, ask it to give you specific ICP for the company through which you need to be able to get back with a sample list of 100. You need to build out a Clay table for that. You need to build out an essential copywriting aspect of that, and ensure the fact that you are able to analyze each and every segment of that, consider it as an assignment for you, and build out the entire GTM strategy for them, right? And then you can start to showcase projects like these inside your LinkedIn, which is going to be super, super valuable for recruiters to be able to understand and analyze your skills and how best you can deliver them, things like those, right? Essentially, once that's done, what you need to be able to focus specifically on is to be able to stay connected with the most important GTM people around your space, which is essentially about a stack of 200 to 250 people, right? And specifically, there is a list of about 40 of such companies who essentially are the most visible in the outbound space, and try to get connected with their founder, right? Once you start optimizing your LinkedIn profile is essentially when you can start to focus entirely on connecting with those people. The second month is going to be essentially to learn as much as possible on Clay. As said, university, focus on the 10 lessons, understand API, understand webhook, understand enrichment, conditional logics, build out a lead enrichment table, and try to work and focus on learning more and more about Clay with others' workflow, right? Which I will be able to provide more sources for you to do so inside the video's description. Essentially, as you do build out your first project post by following the same methodology on asking Clay for a PMF based company and working on the GTM strategy, share it in the Slack community, share it in LinkedIn, and offer to provide upfront value for absolutely no cost. There are people who wants to get automation projects built ASAP and Clay tables built ASAP. If you can offer immediate value, be quick, be responsive, and essentially ensure the fact that you're able to get a testimonial in exchange, or let's say work for free and things like that, is when you start to build out repo, right? And once you have repo already, you start to compile all of the projects that you build inside of a video, right? Which is going to act as a project source base for you for applying to roles. Right now, inside Clay community itself, you'll be able to find multiple part-time, full-time job opportunities. Keep applying to them. They're essentially for people with 2+ years of experience, but there is also a lot of space for people with 3 months experience, 4 months experience, things like that. They need in essential beginning times, your stipend and salary is going to be somewhere about $500,000 a month, right? Which is basically $5-10 essentially. But once you start to build out some deep CRM knowledge, right, you get some really solid projects completed, right, is when you essentially like build out automatic workflows, and is when you essentially and you start to build out your actual projects on automation. You can follow Nick Sarif specifically for that as well, is when you will be able to start charging about $500,000 or get to work inside a company and then build out from there, right? Once you start to land your agency role, which is when you essentially will be able to do by going to LinkedIn and essentially the Clay community, and there are a few other people like the Instantly and Smartly community, the Mail Doso communities where you can find opportunities, Clay cafes where you can find opportunities, things like that. Keep applying to them with the project resource video that you created and you're bound to be able to get a role in the next 15 to 30 days, right? Once you are able to start working on more technical skills like N10, which is a very big advantage, because 95% of GTM engineers or so-called GTM engineers don't know anything about N10 and Make and webhooks and all of those things. And if you can also do something like building out SQL fundamentals, building out Python fundamentals, which you can do later on as well, right? And essentially knowing more about the most important sales tech stack tools is when you can really start to be able to gain that specialization and ensure to be able to build out your value at any point of negotiation when you are trying to sell yourself, right? And that's the goal, right? Once you start to focus more and more on building out your LinkedIn personal profile, is when you can start to ensure you are able to shine. And because it's not really the one who has the most value to offer or the one who has the most knowledge that gets the most money, but essentially the one is able to put themselves in front of the people who are looking forward to them, right? Which is how you do it by building a personal brand and posting regularly on what is it that you are doing, what is it that you're learning, as well as what you're good at essentially, and building out 5 to 10,000 followers, after which you can start to have that real leverage essentially on things and what they look like. Some specialization afterwards that you need to have is the fact that you need to know personalization more than others. You need to know softwares integrate with each other and orchestrate themselves within inside of Clay and leveraging N10 specifically. And if you can focus a bit onto data engineering, that's solid thing, right? Or you can just focus on any specific vertical, like what I'm focusing on is SaaS, as well as like I'm still trying to go broad to be able to expand my knowledge, but specialization pays more essentially is what I'm trying to say, right? Took me a lot of time to master, specifically since I was from some sort of a second world, third world country. Build out your first projects, build out some signature product that people are not able to do easily, right? Like system that analyzes prospects LinkedIn posts, generate personalized talking points, creates custom email copy, references specific content. You can do this through Octave, you can do this through Octave, Clay, Instantly, and a tool like Rapid API, right? Combine all of them together, you have and GPT, right? You have a successful workflow, things like those. Next, once you are able to build out and know what you are talking about, you start to develop on go-to-market engineering. You start talking to people, and if possible, you can join up communities like Clay Bootcamp. There is a go-to-market engineering school. You can join community that will help you in ensuring you're able to level up very fast. Like our community that we're developing called the GTM Launchpad, right? And this real world scales, assignments, things like that for you to be able to necessary for you to become a go-to-market engineer yourself, and which are super important. The next few months you have to be able to focus entirely on building your brand, getting the first 20k followers, right? Post about specific content in this particular way. The problem approach, results, template process. After your first 12 to 15 posts, you will be able to showcase expertise, and then you can start to be available on the most important and most active communities where actually people in the the biggest agency owners lie around, the biggest go-to-market engineers, most skilled go-to-market engineers lie around. Those are actually platforms like Clay, Cafe. There are platforms like SYC and things like that, or SAS Yacht Club, things like those. Once you are able to connect with people and add value upfront, those guys would know what you're talking about. They will try to help you as much as possible. And once you send out personal connects, you will be able to and have a solid base ready. If possible, you can craft specific for yourself to be able to show the interviewer some specific anonymized case studies, right, where you worked with clients and you showcased your entire thought process on how you were able to make things happen, things like those. They are very, very helpful in essentially ensuring the fact that recruiter have an understanding of your go-to-market strategy and the skills necessary for the role. Essentially, if you're able to study JDs, get them sorted, you are really able to get a role. You can start off with, let's say, $2,000 to $3,000. Then you can monthly. Then you can aim towards expanding on that, right? You can get an increase in appraisal towards 4,000-5,000, right? Next, as your skills improve and you get about a year more experience, 6 months, 8 months more years more experience, what's essentially going to happen is the fact that you are able to essentially get roles like 60, 70, 80, 90,000 because of the fact that you have experience, you have had solved go-to-market strategy, and you have been involved specifically into most important processes and industries essentially. And once you're able to crack up the technical assignment where you will have to build out something like, you get the business case study, right, and you ensure the fact that you're able to provide cultural fit, which few tips that I can show you essentially is be interested in them, be interested in the culture, because not every single company is good, and you have to ensure the fact that you're able to make it happen and you're not just here for the money. That's very, very, very important, right? Money matters, but money is not everything at time. You're working with something. So once you land a full-time role, you can find these platforms to be able to do it. You negotiate your entry-level role with equity, things like those. If you're US based, then that's best. You can expect this. If not, then you can reduce 30% from this and 30 to 40% and expect that, right? And so you are able to progress from an individual to systems architect by taking ownership, ensuring the fact that you're able to design processes and build out automated workflows that helps cut out time for the entirety of the team, and establish yourself essentially as some sort of a leader in the industry, which is very, very solid at problem solving, which does not run away when there is a need. They don't run away, things like those. You start to take frequent reviews and feedbacks on how can I improve from your mentor, from your manager. You start to influence the strategy. You start to even think in terms of the company and the company's growth. So you start to run clients and campaigns that bring in outbound leads for the company itself and things like that. And next, what you essentially do is the fact that with the leadership and expertise, right, you essentially start to manage people by becoming a go-to-market engineer, right? That has a very solid hands-on strategy. And then next, you need to become an executive. You need to again ensure the fact that you're able to manage multiple teams, own budgets. You are able to report to big people and have a proven record of scaling from 10 million to, let's say, 50 million in annual recurring revenue, things like those. You have to go to industry events frequently, things like those. Ensure the fact that you are able to do that, become very well networked in the community, provide value to each and every single people, and constantly keep upskilling yourself and investing money in other people's time, right? Let's say someone's time is valued at $200 an hour. If you take, let's say, 10 hours of their time and you understand how to get to that level, you just spend $2,000 and you can now make $2,000 more, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 more from your role itself on a monthly basis by just implementing those skills from the next role that you get. Or the alternative part that I've seen a lot of people go to is to be able to become a fractional or consultant. So their hourly rate goes from $200 to $500. They essentially become a fractional GTM consultant for the company, and their annual incomes become super solid. So you need to have a strong personal brand. have specialized expertise, have a strong portfolio, and these are few of the credentials that if you have, you would be you'd be able to actually increase your value in the market, right? And so right now, if you are able to ensure the fact that you're able to launch new things, build your personal brand, create templates, host meetups, show initiative, answer questions, be active in weekly Slack, you would be able to get your first clients and really just the value that you are aiming forward to doing. So just do all of these things as mentioned, pause the video, and that's how you achieve it, man. So that's how I'm able to get to very, very solid, comfortable role, and you can too. Hope you were able to learn something. Take care.